Well, what's up, everyone? It's John here. NASCAR's finally released the schedule for all three series, and first up is the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. There's a little bit of news for about the sponsor for this series for the Truck Series. Craftsman looks like it is going to be leaving, and from according to Jordan Bianchi, they're this from his sources saying that FedEx could be taking over the title sponsor for the Truck Series. So FedEx coming back to NASCAR. But let's get into the schedule for next year. So trucks going back, of course, to Daytona for the first race of the season. Second race will be at Echo Park or Atlanta, and they were returning to St. Pete. This was announced months back that they were going to St. Pete again with a doubleheader for IndyCar. Got Darlington April 2nd, Bristol April 9th. They're going there twice. Interesting when you get to the bottom here. But Texas Motor Speedway April 30th, May 8th for Kansas, May 21st for North Wilkesboro, a points race. Charlotte, May 28th, June 4th for Nashville, June 11th for Pocono. Got Michigan, Lime Rock, then back to Atlanta again. This is something interesting, going twice there. So they're going to have at least, technically, they're going to have almost, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 super speedways, in a sense, when you include Talladega there on the bottom. So that's going to be interesting. But then Lucas Oil, Bristol, then we're going to Bowman Gray. Yes, they're going to go to the quarter-mile racetrack for a points race. So this is going to be interesting. You go from a half a mile track, probably ticked off at someone, then you're going to shove them down and make it even half of that to a quarter mile racetrack and tick people off even more. Oh, by the way, if you didn't have enough of that, now we're going back north of the border to Canada, which I'm glad. I'm happy that they're going back to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. It sucked when they did leave for a while. Thought it was actually a good track for them, though it was chaotic. If the leaders were close together, how much it'd be easy for them just to wreck each other. So now if you got beef at Bristol, Bowman Gray, now you can totally clean them out there in Canada. So yeah, definitely gonna be interesting, those three races together. After that, September 25th, back to New Hampshire, Kansas in October. Now the ones that are highlighted are the chase. The ones that are more bold are the chase ones. So the chase races, New Hampshire, Kansas, Charlotte, Phoenix, and then Talladega. They said Martinsville, and then Homestead, the championship race for next year. So Truck Series schedule, it's okay. I mean, it's practically almost the same, besides some Bowman Gray and going back to Canada. So they're not going to go to the Navy base like the other series are. So that's one thing they're not doing. But still, I'm okay with the schedule for the series. I wish they could do a little bit more racing, just because there's so much gaps in between the season. Like, for instance, the Truck Series doesn't start their chase until Bristol. So they will start in 3 weeks. Yeah. So it's like, man, there's such a huge gap. And I understand that it is based on the not just the schedule, but the money, the budget, and I get it, but man, I wish this series had a little more momentum to it. But it is what it is. But it's a good schedule. All right, let's go to the O'Reilly Series. They have a lot more races. So again, starting out with Daytona, Atlanta, back to Circuit of Americas, then Phoenix, then Las Vegas, Darlington, and Bristol, and Martinsville back to back. So if you're ticked off at Bristol, go after them at Martinsville. And then they go to Super Speedway at Talladega, Texas, Dover, North Wilkesboro, points race. Now that's something new. They will be going North Wilkesboro for the first time, and it will be a points race for them. So excited to see what they can do there. Then Charlotte, Nashville, Pocono, back to Chicagoland Speedway. Iowa, going to Sonoma, and again, and then back to Indianapolis, and then back to California again for San Diego. That one I kind of wish they had flipped that and had San Diego back to back with Sonoma. It would have made it at least better, or maybe moved. I would have moved Indianapolis up one. Either way, so they could stay on the West Coast. They didn't have to travel back and stuff like that. But it is what it is. I'm assuming they just couldn't figure out uh the scheduling enough to where that would work out. But um, it is going to be a pain for some of these drivers. But or not the drivers, but drivers, the truck drivers are going to want to say and all that. But we'll see there. That being said, we'll see what they can do next year, maybe even in 2028 to maybe fix that. And also talking about the naval base, real quick, that they talked to the War Department, I guess how they call it, to maybe look at doing more naval base races at other places, not just on the West Coast, but maybe East Coast and whatever their naval bases are around the country. So that would be pretty cool to do, but we'll see on that. All right, then we're going to Bristol. Bristol is back into August, not in September. It's not going to be in the chase anymore, which makes sense. They use Bristol as a knockout round, all right, just to hype up the playoffs and everything. But since it's the chase now, it really doesn't matter to have Bristol in there anymore. And so they're going to be back into August 13th, then to Worldwide Technology and Daytona, August 27th, and then Darlington not going to be also in the chase because of the schedule conflict and how it works. They just want to make sure Darlington still stays on the Labor Day weekend. So Darlington will not be in the chase this or next year. I'm assuming once the schedule kind of floats again, it'll probably be back in the chase. So Darlington will always be a floating track, being in the chase and out of the chase, just based on keeping it on Labor Day. Of course, let me know in the comments below. Does that still matter to you if it still runs on Labor Day weekend? Or do you prefer the race to actually be in the chase regardless if it's off in Labor Day? Let me know in the comments below. So the chase starts here for the O'Reilly Series and at Richmond, then to Watkins Glen. So Watkins Glen is not in the spring anymore. So thank goodness for everyone who was up there in that mud mess. In the springtime, we'll have hopefully drier conditions by September. So Watkins Glen will be the second race in the chase. They have Kansas, Las Vegas, Charlotte, Phoenix, Talladega, Martinsville, and Homestead to round out the season. So I'm okay again with this schedule. It's not flashy, but it hits pretty much all your points that you need. Road courses. Now let me go and see. They have one. They have two, which is normal 3, 4. So they have 4 road courses. I think that's plenty. We used to have 6, 7 in that time in the last few years. So having that the 4, I think that's a good number for road courses. As for super speedways, counting now Echo Park or Atlanta, so you have 1, 2, 3. They got 4, 5. They have 5 now. They're not going to Echo Park again later in the season, which I think that's a good thing. Start wrecking vehicles, but I'm okay with this schedule for O'Reilly for next year. Now let's move on to the Cup Series. All right, so they have also the 2 non-points races on schedule as well. So we're going back to Daytona, as was announced a few months back that they're going to go back to Daytona for the Clash. Of course, Daytona 500. Then they go to Atlanta. Basically, 2 Super Series back to back. I will be curious on one thing. It sounds like to me there's been rumors that they may not be doing the preseason Thunder anymore, or the testing in January. Whatever happens in this weekend at Daytona, They may take it to Talladega, do some more testing, and I think probably what's going to happen is the Clash is going to become the preseason Thunder test. That they're going, if they need to do major adjustments, then they're going to use the Clash. That's just my thinking. Because in that way, the Clash is on that Saturday. If they need to do update anything over that period of like 3 or 4 days, they can get it out to the teams. If it's, and of course, it has to be mild stuff like minor changes, nothing very big. But I think the Clash will be more your test session, and if they have to do anything extra, so we'll see on that. But yeah, we'll see. But when it comes to actually Atlanta, though, if they do it for Daytona, will they do that for Atlanta? Personally, I hope they don't. Actually, believe it or not, the package they have there is great. It works great. So I do not want them to change anything with the Atlanta package because yeah, it's draggy, but it makes massive runs with this car because they have to lift. They have to lift because of handling, but it causes massive runs and it makes just really great racing there. So hopefully they don't touch that package there. Consider it like still a mile and a half package. That's what I would say. Even though it's the super speedway package, consider it a hybrid intermediate super speedway. So make it its own package. That's what I would say. Um, so now after that, they go back to Coda. And they Phoenix, Las Vegas. Then they have an off week for Easter, which I'm okay with. Not like freaking out that they go only so far and then they have a break already, but that's good. Darlington, then Bristol, Martinsville, Talladega, Texas. Pretty much your front half of the schedule is basically the same. Kansas, Dover, and then the unfortunate thing, Dover is now a points race, which I'm okay with. I wanted it to be a points race. That track needs a points race just because of how the racing has to be. You can't. I mean, technically, what they did with the All-Star race there this year, it was a full race basically. It was like 50 laps shorter. That was all. But you had to make it to where the tires could rubber in, right? So the whole track, and so it'd be hopefully a racy track. But Dover is back to a points race. So unfortunately, that means North Wilkesboro is going back to the All-Star race. I really hope they can get that points race back. I thought that race was pretty good. Yes, I know Joey Gon dominated that race basically, but I thought it was a really good race, and I'm hoping this will just be temporary and they can get a points race back. Yeah, that means some tracks is going to have to take the fall, take the hit. What is, who knows? I certainly don't want the All-Star race to go back to Texas. Maybe Nashville can be an All-Star race. I don't know how that would work. Again, it's concrete. It needs some time to rubber in. So, I don't know. But, here's a brilliant idea. Just for shits and giggles. Why wouldn't we just not go back to the All-Star race at Charlotte? I mean, but whatever. It is what it is. We'll see how they want to do it. But after that, we go to Charlotte for the 600, Nashville, Pocono, Michigan, Chicagoland Speedway, Iowa Speedway, for July 4th. That is going to be a July 4th race. From what I'm understanding, and I've been hearing a lot of people that from social media that live around there that they're actually happy that it's going to be there. So we'll see, right? We'll see how it does for the place around there, how it helps their economy around there for July 4th weekend, and see. And of course, Iowa's going to repave, so we'll see how well the race is next year. After that, it goes to Sonoma, then to Atlanta. And so I didn't even recognize this. So there actually is a gap. So between the O'Reilly race of Sonoma to when they go to Indianapolis and San Diego. So there's an off week for a rally series, and then they go to Atlanta, and then so Bob Hawkers did not put in the off weeks for the other season. So kind of wish he did for at least I wish he did it for the O'Reilly series because they're pretty close to the Cup Series for the schedule. I know there's a lot of 2 to 3 more off weeks, I guess. But anyways, so they go to Atlanta uh, for the Super Speed there. Then they go to Indianapolis for the Brickyard again, and back to Naval Base for another year. So again, I actually liked it. I really did like that race. I'm hoping they do adjust some of the turns a little bit. One, maybe turn one if they can. If not, they said they are looking at the last turn and trying to straighten that out more, so it helps not be such on a ragged edge to that area. But I think turn one maybe needs to be worked on a little bit, uh, so we don't have massive accidents towards the wall there, pit road wall. But we'll see. Then after that, they have an off week. That'll be the last off week until they go once again. I think it'll be 14 weeks after that, close to it. They go to Bristol August 14th. Again, Bristol's out of the chase. And then Worldwide Technology is also out of the chase. Daytona will be not the regular race again. I told you because of Labor Day being where it is, how the schedule sits. They didn't want to mess with Darlington being on Labor Day again. Comment below what you think. Do you want Darlington to be in the chase regardless if it's not on Labor Day weekend, or say no, I want it on the Labor Day weekend and just have a floating date for Darlington to be in the chase and not in the chase. So let me know in the comments below. So to start the chase, it'll be on September 11th. Richmond will start. It will start at Richmond, then go to Watkins Glen, New Hampshire, Kansas, Las Vegas, Charlotte Oval, Phoenix, Talladega, Martinsville, and then of course Homestead, Miami for the last race. Again, I like this schedule. It's nothing fancy, but there are some differences. Obviously, going back to the naval base is going to be cool again. We thought it was just a one and done. Heck, what we're talking about Indy cars, they did the Washington D.C. race. I have a feeling that's going to come back next year. How well the viewership did. So I'm good at that. And again, if they rotate to other more naval bases or street courses near naval bases, that would be pretty cool. Of course, they're still talking about Chicagoland maybe still coming back, but technically, to tell you the truth, that race I don't necessarily care for personally. Now being on a naval base, I think that's more hyped in action versus a city like Chicago. Sorry, but anyways, everything else pretty solid. Of course, going back to Chicagoland Speedway, that's great to go back there. But yeah, I don't see much. Again, Watkins Glen being in the chase, not in spring, going to be late. Well, it's not going to be late. It's not even going to be fall yet, but it's going to be late summer. So, yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. So, someone suggested that Watkins Glen be like more in the October time. I'm going to tell you right now, once we hit October up here, because I live in the Northeast, I live near Watkins Glen. Once we get to October, our weather can get very funky. A lot of people want to have the fall foliage happen, see the orange colors and everything like that, which that would be cool. The problem is once we get to October, it's almost like spring. We could get a lot of rain. We could be either bone dry or get a lot of rain. If we get rain, we get a lot of rain. So it's kind of wishy-washy when it comes to October weather. But when you're in the late August, beginning of September, we're still our weather's decent. So once you get into October, then it's a little sketchy. But everything else looks fine. It's good. Again, the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro. Got to find a way to get it a points race again. Again, hey, we did it before. We've done it for years before. Why can't we have the All-Star race back at Charlotte? Hype up the 600 again, And if the reason is maybe because, well, Fox would want the All-Star race, fine. I don't care if Fox has the All-Star race. That is a hype to kick you off. If that All-Star race, was spectacular with how the next gen can race a mile and a half still right now. That is a lead in to the prime season or portion going, hey, we had a great send off at Charlotte. If you want to see what you saw for the 600, go to prime. You know, that is a great send off. But I don't know. We'll see what they want to do going forward. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think about all this, and you like the schedules for all three. What would you want to change? Let me know. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more NASCAR content.